Before you begin to support and campaign for a favorite presidential candidate, whether you are articulated, obedient, or a bat, I want you to watch this video and pay close attention to the information that I'm about to pass across very quickly, so that I don't get deceived and misled by selfish individuals who either have a political contract, political appointment, or even money to gain. I will suggest that just like them, let's all be selfish. Oh yes, let us all be selfish and vote for that individual whom we know will solve our personal problems. As the saying goes, that it is only those who live by the riverside that hear the cry of the crocodile, which simply implies that it is only you and I, who are residents in this country, can attest to the poor standard of living we are faced with. Now, I want us to quickly reflect on what we've been through for the past 7 years plus and ask ourselves the vital question: can we endure another 4 to 8 years of this hardship? You who is a business owner, it is no news that many industries are shutting down. Investors are leaving the country. Now, I want you to ask yourself, how much more of this hardship can my business endure before I am forced to close down? How then do you cater for your family? You who is an employee of one organization or the other, do not forget the COVID experience. A lot of individuals lost their jobs that till today they are yet to recover. Because if you look at it, the moment the standard of living becomes so difficult to do business, the only reasonable thing that any company would do would be to either close down or fire those who can be fired, or slash down the salaries of those who they can retain. You might have survived that of the COVID pandemic, which was just natural, just a pandemic. The one we are talking about right here is man-made. Now ask yourself, if this hardship continues, how much longer can I stay employed? You that they will soon recruit to come and play thugs for them, to cause violence, confusion, and snatch ballot boxes. Ask yourself a very vital question. Why is it that they don't call me to celebrate with them during celebrations? Why don't they give me better employment opportunities? Day in, day out, we are playing thug. Owomida, Owomida. How much more, how much longer do you want to be playing thugs? Why wouldn't they call on their children to play thugs for them? After all, it's their father's election. Did you come to this world to play thug? Don't you want to do anything reasonable with your life? You who is a youth, I want you to recall, how many times have you been harassed and brutalized by security operatives and nothing has been done? Because I, for one, have lost count. How many of your friends have died in the hands of the police, SARS, or even the EFCC? Remember our fallen comrades who were killed at Lekki toll gates over 2 years plus, and they are yet to get justice. And still yet, the police brutality still continues. It is said that when you see your security operatives, you feel safe. But then it is sad that in our own case, the moment we sight our security operatives, we feel endangered, even when we've done nothing wrong. Now, I want you to remember that the next victim of this police brutality is among us. Also, remember that there is high rate of unemployment among the youth. So when voting, vote for that man who will provide security and employment opportunity for the youth. You that is the leader of one religious group or the other, that they will soon come to for laying of hands and endorsements. I want you to remember the occurrence at the Catholic Church in Owo and tell yourself, that could have been my church. That could have been my mosque. The people who died could have been my congregation. Remember, the next victim is among us. You that is a parent, that they will soon give materials bearing their party logos and candidate faces to go and sow materials and join them in the campaign. I want you to remember that not too long ago, you wore similar material to the burial of that your friend's son that was shot dead by the security personnel. I want you to remember that not too long ago, You wore similar material to the burial of that your friend's daughter that was killed for ritual purposes, because people are so frustrated that they are ready to go extra mile to survive. So while we are wearing that agbada or that buba and be dancing and shaking your waist for them, I want you to remember that the next victim could be your son or your daughter. Don't say God forbid, because it could happen to anybody. You that is a student, remember that ASUU has been on strike for over 8 months plus over something that can be easily resolved. How much exactly is ASUU asking for that cannot be provided when billions are being embezzled, are being wasted in this country every day? There are many ways that this money that ASUU is asking for can be raised, but then it won't be done because your education is not important to them. When their children are studying abroad, you've been at home for over how many months? If you fail to vote in that person that will see your education as a priority, guess what? The marathon continues. Your 4 years course shall continue to be postponed into 6 to 7 years. Get sense? You that is fortunate enough to be in either a state or private university. Now, it is no secret that most school authorities have received money and certain promises to convince their students to vote for one particular presidential candidate or the other. Now, newsflash, whatever school might have received, you won't get a dime out of it. Now, if we elect the wrong person, guess what? The economy that is already bad becomes worse. And when that happens, guess what again? Inflation sets in. And when inflation sets in, guess what? School fees increases. And when it gets to that level whereby your parents or your sponsors can no longer afford to keep you and your siblings in school, guess what? Someone has to drop out. It might be you, it might be one of your siblings, depending on your position in the family. If you are the firstborn, just know automatically you are the one. Because education is secondary, survival is primary. It is better to cut off a limb to save the whole body. Now imagine how you would walk up to your sibling who might have dropped out to tell him, bro, sis, that you dropped out of school was because of me. That's my one vote that could have secured our future. I gave it away. In conclusion, let us not allow ourselves to be deceived and divided by tribalism or religious differences. Now, mind you, there is no such thing as he would favor the Igbos over the Yorubas or favor the Hausas over the Fulanis. Whoever we elect as the president of this country, guess what? It is what he or she brings to the table that we shall all enjoy. If they bring cassava, imori, corn, yam, we go chop them together. If they bring insecurity, tribalism, corruption, guess what? We would all face the road together. And if they bring economic development, employment opportunities, and improved standard of living, guess what? We would all enjoy it together. Remember that most of us have no dual citizenship. To these guys, getting out of this country is like ordering an Uber or a Bolt. It is you and I who have to go through the immigration process if we want to leave the country. Should we allow them turn this country into a war zone or a wasteland? While you ponder on whom to vote for, I want you to remember that hunger, poverty, and insecurity knows no tribe or religion. Vote wisely. Thank you.